Hey yo, welcome back to a new series. This is what if Naruto was born 6 years later and was friends with Itachi. Um, I know the thumbnail says something different, but I mean, it doesn't say anything different. I just couldn't fit all the letters together. So yeah, this is gonna be a sick ass series. How can I explain this? It's gonna be hella fun. All right, he's gonna be pretty overpowered. Actually, he's gonna be hella overpowered. So if you guys like overpowered what ifs, I would recommend you watch this. This was recommended to me by a subscriber. Um, Shout out to him. Um, I don't know if he wants a shout out or not, so I'm just gonna leave it. If he does, I'll just edit this video later on. But yeah, he's been wanting this series done for a whole, I think, a week and a half, 2 weeks. So hey man, here it is. Um, Sorry it took me so long. I had a lot of homework, but I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I'm gonna enjoy making it because I can't lie. The plot is gonna be really really thick in this one. So yeah, with my rambling, with all that rambling out of the way, let's just get straight into the video.
Yoxi.
Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki had a son named Naruto Uzumaki. But you see, the son was born 6 years earlier than he would have been born, just like in canon. When Kushina finally gave birth to what would be Naruto, people from basically all over came and gave gifts and food and basically anything they could to congratulate Minato on his first son. Minato being so happy, he doesn't announce this. He announces this to basically the whole world. Um, Minato in this, he had a lot of thought, because he release this to the whole world because he has many enemies. But he got a little cocky and said, "I can probably take care of Naruto. I'm strong." And I believe at this moment he would not be the fourth Hokage just yet. In 2 years' time, he would be. At this moment, he would be the joining instructor of Team 9, or I don't know what team they were on, of Kakashi, Rin, and Obito. Now, as Naruto grows up, Naruto was, or you could say is, very, very intelligent. Not just intelligent, he can pick up many things. When he was at the age of basically one, he could say his whole name, Naruto Uzumaki. He could recite the alphabet backwards, frontwards, and everything. He could count from 1 to basically 1,000 at the age of 2. He could say his name at the age of 1 and count, let's say the alphabet frontwards. At the age of 2, he can count to 1,000, which in and of itself is a feat of his own. Minato being so happy that his son is so smart and intelligent and you could say can pick up many things, starts teaching him or training him at a very young age. This is due to the fact that he wants his son to be strong. He wants him to be basically the savior of the world. Now, you might be asking, well, what do you mean? Now, Jiraiya did say that Naruto would be the savior of the world, or the hero, after seeing that Minato wasn't. So, Minato, seeing that Naruto's probably going to be going through a lot of hardships, starts training him from a very young age. Minato isn't very strict on Naruto, but he still likes to, um, educate him and tell him about the ninja world. Naruto finally comes to comes to know what the ninja world is after what would be Obito dying. He experiences death, you could say, from a very young age, at the age of 2. One of his you could say, basically uncle dies. Not in front of him, but dies in the battlefield. After this tragic or trauma, Naruto comes to be a little bit more, you could say, to himself. He doesn't really, he talks to people, he's very enthusiastic, but he has a lot of meaning towards his words. He doesn't just blurt out anything he says. He thinks twice before he thinks twice, or maybe thrice. Maybe he thinks 2 or 3 times before he says something. As they always say, think before you speak. This is exactly what Naruto does. Minato trains him on chakra control. Um, he also teaches him what would be basic. Um, let's see. Taijutsu, Kenjutsu, because I'm gonna say that Minato does know a little bit of Kenjutsu. It's not too much to the point where he's a samurai, but it's a good understanding. Um, Minato, I mean, no, Kushina's seeing that Minato is training Naruto, and seeing that if he is gonna be the savior, that she should probably teach him stuff as well. She teaches him about the Uzumaki chains. Naruto comprehends this ability very, very young, at the age of 5. Now, throughout his ages from 2 to 5, he learns, let's see, as I said, basic chakra control. Chakra control is off limits. This is his chakra control is basically like Tsunadi's at the age of 3 or 4, which impresses both Kushina and Minato. This even impresses the third Hokage because he's never seen chakra control at this level before. This is legendary, he says. He also learns seals. Now, this is not very complex seals. This would be normal, let's see, sealing seals, like not complex as I said. You could probably see like a frog and stuff like that. Uh, the other seals he learned was to summon, like kunai and other things in his arsenal. And as I said, he knows kenjutsu. He carries around a wooden sword, but this wooden sword, if used right, can paralyze you for life. Because Naruto knows the meridians of what would be the human body, and if struck properly, in a very elegant way, he will paralyze you. Now, this could be permanent, or this could be a 1 minute thing. But this will become very, very useful. At this age, Naruto also starts learning what would be Minato's special jutsu, which would be firstly the Rasengan, and the second would be the Flying Raijin. Now, Minato thinks that teaching Naruto the Rasengan would be a better choice because, well, the Rasengan is basically made by him, while while the Flying Raijin was basically handed down, or he kind of copied it and made it better. It's kind of like a Mark II of it, if that makes sense. Now, as Naruto goes to school, he is basically the silent kid. Now, he's the silent kid who's very strong and and smart, but he's the silent kid. He doesn't have many friends because, well, he doesn't trust a lot of people. So, I'm gonna say that they have a different teacher. This teacher is relevant, so we can call him Mr. Let's see, Mr. I don't know, Namikaze. Mr. Namikaze because his last name. No, Mr. Uzumaki because his last. Fuck. No, that's not a good one. Let's just call him Mr. Kizzy. All right, Mr. Kizzy is their teacher. Um, so Naruto doesn't, as I said, Naruto doesn't have many friends. This being the fact, he sees other people being friends, and he thinks deep down that those are not going to be real friends. Real friends are people who stick their neck out for you, would do anything for you. Now he knows his father has good friends, and he wants to make friends just like that. He wants to have enemies. I mean, not enemies, allies all over the world. And with a second calling, they would be at his doorstep without hesitation. He wants friends like those, not friends that will just um, want to be friends with you just for your reputation or your hierarchy. Because Naruto has gotten a lot of friend requests, but he's always turned them down because he knows what they're after for. He either wants they either want him because he's the fourth Ukage's son, or that he's strong, or they want to marry him off maybe. Now Naruto knows what this is about because, well, as I said, he's basically experienced what would be Obito and Rin's death at the age of 3 or 4. So basically, his uncle and what would be his, I don't know what he would call Rin. She's basically like a caretaker. That would be a caretaker to Naruto when maybe Kushina had to go somewhere. So be like a babysitter. And when Naruto saw that she was in a coffin, like just imagine the trauma that kid would go through. Um, he sees two people that intrigue him though. This would be two of the highest ranking people in the academy. This would be Shisui and Itachi. You see, Shisui is not in his class. Shisui is probably 2 or 3 classes above him, while Itachi would be in the same class as him. Because when Itachi and Naruto were born at the same exact month, you could say, or maybe a month later. So when Minato, when he comes home, always ask him like one question. He's like, "Have you made any friends yet?" Naruto always responds with the same answer. No, I have. No, I haven't. Minato understands why because, like father, like son. Um, he's like, well, do you know? Do you have anybody who intrigues you? And Naruto says that would be Itachi Uchiha and Shisui Uchiha. Now, Minato started laughing. That's my boy. You got two of the strongest people in the academy. He's like, you have a keen eye, Naruto. But he says, he always says this to Naruto. Always make good friends. Never fake friends. Naruto nods, says, I understand, father. He's like, are you ready for our lessons? And Naruto's like, no, please. your lessons are torture. I mean, he says this in an enthusiastic way, of course, because he loves his father and he loves what his father does for him, of course. Uh, and now we come over to what would be Kushina's training. Kushina's training is very, very hard. You see, she started training him around about a month ago, and this is the time no, 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 6 months ago. Now, since Naruto's chakra control is basically off limits, she's teaching him basically more chakra control. This is because if you want to unlock your Uzumaki chains, you're gonna need two key. There's gonna be two key factors. One would be immense chakra control and just chakra overall, which Naruto just have. He does have immense chakra. This would be because of his Uzumaki and Namikaze heritage. Um, being an Uzumaki overall is crazy chakra amounts, even more than what would be Kushina with maybe 10% of the Nine Tails. You might be asking, there's no way Naruto has this much chakra. Um, this week, well, there's two things. Um, you see, when Naruto was born, he got a little bit of Kurama's chakra. Now, this is not red chakra or anything, it's normal, pure chakra. This is the blue chakra. It just mixed in with what would be Kushina's chakra. So when he was in Kushina, came out wrong, um, he was absorbing immense chakra from, you know, feeding off of her and shit. Um, he got a lot of chakra. And since he has Namikaze genes, you know, he has that chakra as well. I was about to say something else, but I'm gonna stop myself. Naruto every day trains by himself. Well, in what would be like an abandoned place. No, not an abandoned place, like a training ground. And one day, somebody spies on him. This is two people by the names of Itachi and Shisui. Now you see, Itachi is already friends with Shisui. They were probably friends before they were even fucking born. um, no, I'm joking. You see, Itachi, um, also as when he was in his class, he saw that Naruto was by himself and always silent. While on the other hand, Itachi, they both of them are like silent, but they acknowledge each other. You know, they always kind of compete in their minds, both Naruto and Itachi, but they don't show it. When they look at their grades, one of them kind of peeks at the other one, and they're like, "Shit, he got a better score than me," and shit like that. Um, so when Itachi told Shisui about this prodigy, Shisui got very intrigued by who this person was because he only knew of one other prodigy besides himself, which would be Itachi. So they came and followed Naruto one day. Naruto doesn't suspect this, of course, because, well, the chakra control is very good. Um, what happens is, let's see, they spy on Naruto and see his crazy skill, like his skill overall with Kenjutsu, Taijutsu, um, Shuriken Jutsu. Overall, he is very, very strong. This is when, Shisui and Itachi nod at each other, indicating that, yeah, they want to be friends with this person. Now, do remember, Naruto wasn't the one who walked up to them. Shisui and Itachi were. They were just so shocked at Naruto's capabilities. By the way, because, what they saw shocked them. Because he already knew how to climb up a tree and walk on water, which should be something that you learn when you're a genin or on a team. So these two skills in general shocked them. But when Naruto showed off what would be his shuriken and other jutsus, because he thinks nobody is around, impresses them even more because Itachi sees that, wow, Naruto's probably stronger than him at this point. And, Shisui sees this and he's like, shit, I have a rival that's like 2 or 3 years younger than me? That's crazy. So, the next day, when they all go to the academy, they would see that Naruto's going and eating by himself. So, they would walk up to what would be Naruto, and, Naruto looks up to two shadows hovering above him, and he sees this is Itachi, who he knows, and Shisui, who he knows. The two people he said to his father that were very worthy candidates of becoming his friend. They both ask if they can sit down. Naruto waves his hand, says, go right ahead, and he scoots over. They both of them sit down, and they have a weird, awkward silence, and for some reason they all start laughing because it's kind of weird. um, but after a while, they start becoming very good friends. They start becoming very close, and Shisui's like, "Damn, we didn't know you were that strong." And Naruto's shocked. He's like, "What do you mean by this?" Um, they're like, "Well, we're sorry to admit it, but we were kind of stalking you, and yeah, you're very powerful." Naruto says, "Ah, so you found out?" He's like scratching the back of his head. He's like, "You found out." Shisui's like, "I'm very sorry about this." Being very, very polite, just like he's like in canon. Naruto says, "That's fine. I've stalked you guys multiple times before." They're like, "What? You've stalked us?" He's like, "Yeah, you guys were very powerful, and you guys were prodigies, and I wanted to see who I was up against." And they're like, "Wow." But after they have a long talk, they see that Naruto's not a bad person. He's actually very funny. He's very enthusiastic. He just keeps to himself. This is due to the fact that he doesn't want to expose himself. He doesn't want to expose how powerful he is, especially at the age of what would be 5, and Chisu would be 8. 8. Itachi would be 5 as well, or maybe 6. No, 5, 5, 5. Yeah. No, Itachi would probably be 6. I don't know their age. Shisui, brings up the question of, it's like, well, the reason we came down here today is, well, we wanted to be friends with you. You know, um, we could spar with each other and just, be good sparring partners. We're all very strong, and we thought that you would make a great, great teammate. Naruto was like, you know what? I was thinking the very same exact thing. I, as I said, I have been stalking you guys, and you know what? I see you guys as worthy friends. And after this, both Itachi, Shisui, and Naruto just start hanging out like a crap ton. They each go to each other's houses, except for Naruto. Naruto can't really bring people over because it's the Hokage's place. They both go to each other's houses. Itachi introduces what would be Naruto to Fugaku. Fugaku's like, well, I mean, he doesn't hate Naruto, because Naruto didn't do anything wrong. But Fugaku is Fugaku, so he's like, hello there, you must be the fourth Hokage's son. Naruto's very polite, very gentle. He's like, ah, yes, Mr. Fugaku, it's a very great pleasure to meet you. I've heard very, very great things from my father. He's like, you're just yeah, you're giving me too much credit. Come right in, he says as he points towards what would be his house. Naruto bows, says, "Thank you. I really appreciate you for your hospitality and just letting us into your home." Fugaku's like, "Wow, you're really polite." Just acknowledging Naruto, just like how Naruto acknowledged Fugaku. And Fugaku and Naruto have a good relationship after that. Every once in a while Itachi shows off his moves and Naruto shows off his moves, and Fugaku gets very intrigued by how Naruto's movements, because it's almost like Naruto created his own movements, which is very shocking to Fugaku. Fugaku's like, here, I want to show you something. I've already taught this to my son, and I bet Shisui already knows this. He's like, I want to teach you the fire style fireball jutsu. Naruto nods, says, that would be my pleasure. I would love to learn your signature, what would be jutsu. Fugaku's like, alright, well, come with me. He shows him the hand style, hand movements, and as soon as he casts it, he sees somebody else's fireball right next to him, basically almost as big as his. Fugaku's shocked. He's like, "What kind of monster have you created, Minato? This is this is not even a kid anymore. You created a you probably created the new Hokage, haven't you?" He's like, "Minato, you scheming bastard," as he laughs to himself. He's like, "Well," he looks over to Itachi and says, "You've got yourself a good friend." Now, do remember this is before the Uchiha massacre. Um, so yes. And, Fugaku, even before the Uchiha massacre, I believe he was not such a bad person. Um, Mikato is very, like, treats Naruto like a second son. She does this as well to Shisui, because Shisui is basically like another son. And that day, he learns the Fire Style Fireball Jutsu. Now, Fugaku would like to teach him other things, but he has to get permission from what would be Minato. Um, so, Minato, of course, has a personal Anbu looking after um, Naruto because he cares about for his well being. And he sees two things that shock him. First, Naruto has two very, very good friends that will probably follow him to death. And second, that he's creating basically relationships for Minato. Like, yeah, sure, his relationship with Fugaku wasn't so great before. I mean, wasn't so great, but it's improved a lot more. Like Fugaku is when they have council meetings and everything is actually like uh acknowledging Minato and telling him that his son is a prodigy basically, which is crazy to Naruto that a 5 year old would basically create what would be relationships for his father, for the village, which makes Minato very proud. So that day when what would be Naruto coming back, Minato says, "I want you to invite your friends, Naruto." Naruto's like, "Have you been inciting Anbu again? I thought we went over this, Dad. I don't need protection." Minato says, I know. Just it's for my protection." He's like, "That's BS." He's like, hey, no cussing in this house, all right? There's no cussing in this house. Um, Naruto says, "Whatever. Which one do you want me to invite?" He's like, "Both of them, Shisui Uchiha and Itachi Uchiha. I would like to meet both of them." Naruto nods, says, "Expect expect two people coming over tomorrow." And Kushina's super excited. She's like, "Our boy has finally made friends." She's crying in the background. Minato's crying. They're like, "Our boy is growing up right before our eyes." um, so yeah. So the next day, when after the academy, by the way, um, Kushina and Minato don't really need to look at Naruto's grades because he's very sharp. He's very intelligent, and they won't even look at his grades, and they can just see it from like basically one of his Anbu or one of Kushina's personal Anbu, which would be Kakashi, would just tell him, be like, "Shit, Naruto's smart as fuck," and from just that they would know that Naruto's doing very well. So the next day, Naruto brings two people in. Both Itachi and Shisui would bow and say, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Lord Fourth." And Minato says, you must be Naruto's friends. It's a great pleasure to meet you, Shisui and Itachi." Both of them are shocked. They're like, "Wait, the fourth Hokage knows our names?" Fourth Hokage starts laughing. He's like, "Of course I would know your names. You guys are, you guys are the next generation." Uh, and so he's like, "Come in, come in." After they eat and have breakfast, Kushina is like, "Are you gonna tell them? Or are you gonna break the news to them?" And Naruto, Minato's like, "Well, it's now or never, I guess." It's like, "Well, the reason I called you guys today is because I want to train you guys. You guys are very, very special, and don't tell this to anybody. I believe you guys can you guys will probably be like the next. You guys will be a special team in the days to come. And I want to do like a checkup, and I want help you guys become more stronger. Um, both Naruto, Itachi, and Shisui are shocked. Father, you would do this for us? Of course. Why wouldn't I? I mean, you're the only two friends that my son has, and I don't see why I wouldn't. And Naruto says, "Thank you," and so does Shisui and Itachi. Um, that day, Minato checks two things. First would be their elements. You see, he wanted to see what kind of elements Shisui and Itachi would have. I don't remember Itachi's element, or neither do I Shisui. I believe Shisui had water style and fire style, and maybe earth style. I might be wrong on that. I remember he had two of those. Um, Itachi, I believe, has fire style, um, water style. I mean, he's basically a fucking Uchiha. He's gonna have all styles, anyways. All elements, and fire style, maybe lightning style, and earth or water. I think it was water. Naruto, on the other hand, has basically four elements off bat. He has four elements off bat: fire style, water style, lightning style, and let's see, water, earth, fire, lightning. I forgot the last one. I can't believe I just forgot the last one. Water, earth, fire, lightning. Ah, shit. I forgot the. I am so fucking stupid. It's wind. So, yeah. Naruto has wind, lightning, fire, and water. Both Shisui and Itachi are kind of jealous. Naruto starts laughing. He's like, "Don't worry. I bet you guys will have more elements, especially after you unlock your Sharingan, which I believe both of them have unlocked it. No, I think I believe Itachi would unlock it at the age of 5 or 6. I think 6. I believe it was 6. So Itachi hasn't unlocked it. Shisui, on the other hand, has definitely probably gotten to like the two Tomoe by now. He's 8, I believe. Well, Naruto was 5. Um, so yeah, Shisui's like, yeah. I mean, I'm already able to basically copy jutsu now, and that's why I have three elements. Um, you know, Minato was very shocked by this. He's like, well, "You guys are gonna be a great team." He's like, "Oh shit!" He covers his mouth. He's like, "That wasn't supposed to leak out." They didn't hear it, of course. And you know, this is when Minato breaks the news to everybody there. He's like, "Well, Naruto, this is as good a time as any. You are gonna be having a brother, and this shocks everybody." And that's where I'm gonna leave it off. Cliffhanger. But next episode, I promise you, is gonna be a banger. So be on the lookout for that. Let's get to 40 likes on this part, and I promise you, I'll get us another part as soon as possible. Um, but yeah, hope you guys really enjoyed this as much as I did. I'm probably gonna be recording like 2 or 3 parts of this right now. And funny thing is, I have basically state testing tomorrow. Okay, it would be tomorrow for me, but yeah, my testing would already have been passed by the time I upload this. Yeah, I have state testing tomorrow, and imagine uploading because you gotta wake up 8 in the morning tomorrow. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you guys really like it, you know, consider dropping a like, and if you're new to my channel and you like my content, hey, maybe subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you did, it's free, and you could always unsubscribe later. um, but yeah, tell me how the thumbnail looks. And tell me how you guys are doing down in the comments. I always like to read how you guys are doing, especially in these tough times. Well, yeah, especially in these tough times. I mean, I'm going through some shit in real life. So yeah, with all that out of the way, hope you guys have a good day.
Where'd you get